DDG episode 242. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, how's it going? I know I'm a little sleepy, and it's been a while since we recorded. It feels like it's been a while, even though we only took a week off. Right? 2 weeks off?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
it's the stomach bug went through all three people in the house. So,
yeah.
And in different increments of time. So, sometimes I wish that you if you it's like back in the day. You're younger than me, I know that, but were you sent to other? Yeah, shut up.
No,
were you sent to other people's houses for chickenpox? Were you in that generation where oh, Jimmy down the street has chickenpox, go hang out with him? You haven't had it yet.
No, I swear to God, I think that was like a suburban thing. Like that.
Okay.
That was not really a city people thing.
Okay. Well, just because I almost feel like at that point in time it would have been the facilities would have been a problem, but I wish that all three of us would have just been sick at the same time instead of Owen having it for 3 or 4 days, Angela having it for 3 days, and me having it for 2 days over the course of 9 days or 10 days.
I don't mind that though, because at least someone can take care of the other as
Yeah,
opposed
I guess,
to having three people just useless.
But then trying to juggle the schedule of okay, so can she take the day off? Do I take the day off? Do I go into late work because we got to take care of him? And then she can take care of herself for the most part, and I can take care of myself for the most part, so
yeah.
There's, it was fine, but whatever this norovirus or whatever, that, I understand my kids go to public school. My son goes to public school. My wife's a teacher in a public school. So those are just gigantic Petri dishes, and I work in retail.
Yep.
So it's just it's going to be what it's going to be, but man, it just knocked us out for a little bit. So that's when I was I could do it, but I don't know. And I'm what's the stories look like? And you're yeah, this, and I'm okay, that's punt.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, which is fine. We always said
yeah.
if there's not really anything hitting, there's no pressure to release something.
Yeah.
But we do have some stuff to go over this week, and we actually played some games, and I think we both played the same game this past weekend. So we got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so we are live on Twitch, twitch.tv/digitaldaysgaming. We are also live on YouTube, youtube.com/digitaldaysgaming. After the show is published and recorded, you can catch it on YouTube on the live feed, on-demand archive feed. And then also there's an audio feed that posts directly to our YouTube channel as well, which is you can still listen through YouTube, but it's just a still image, and you can, listen in your car, on your workout, or even out at even public Wi-Fi, because a lot of public Wi-Fi blocks Twitch and blocks all this other stuff. But YouTube is a educational site, at least for now, and you can usually use it that way. So subscribing to YouTube is free. Following on Twitch is free. You can subscribe on Twitch if you choose, although I think that went up to $8 2 months ago. But
inflation, man.
Yeah, and then if you have Amazon Prime, you can link that with your Twitch account, and you get something called Prime Gaming that gives you a free Twitch sub. So if you're already paying for Amazon Prime, make sure that you're using all the benefits that it gives you, because there's a lot more of it than just free shipping and then the TV app. But make sure you check that stuff out. And then even if you don't use it on Digital Days Gaming, please use it on a streamer that you support or you choose to, or a friend of yours or something. Don't let that that perk go to waste, because that's kind of free money for any content creator. So please consider just checking. It doesn't auto renew, so it's not one of those things where you can set it and forget it. Unfortunately, they want to use it as hitting the Twitch interface for consistency. So please consider checking that out and double checking your subscription. A bunch of you do that. We really appreciate it. But yeah, other than that, you can subscribe on our podcast feeds, whether that's on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those things. And if you can leave us a review or share the show, that helps a ton. Everything else can be reached at digitaldaysgaming.com, where there's links in the show notes to all that, as well as our Discord server, to hang out with the group and the community and find out what people are playing and what we're doing. So, yeah, I think that's it. So we're gonna kick it off into some news.
Yeah, so this week we I feel like we're in a little bit of an announcement low, so we're not getting any crazy stories, but we are getting a lot of rumors that I feel like we're on a really good rumor streak, where rumors are being revealed and then they're actually becoming true, as opposed to the last couple years where it feels like people are just throwing shit.
We're getting dangerously close to a hardware reveal from Nintendo, which usually is kind of the little the catalyst of where other stuff will be talked about, where Nintendo has they want to make sure they have some stuff to show for the Switch 2, and a lot of stuff that will be third party on the Switch 2 will probably be on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC also. But Nintendo's paying some cash to keep it on their end, probably.
Yeah, and this could be one of those ones that we're going to first talk about that could probably make it over to the Switch 2, and that is Oblivion, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake is apparently pretty much finished development, and it should be revealed and released soon. So this is coming from Video Games Chronicles, and then several other websites also popped up to be like, yes, we've heard about this and it is real. So it's basically the Microsoft and Bethesda are having another studio do a full Unreal Engine 5 remake of Oblivion, which originally released in 2006. This is looking like it's going to have a bunch of changes to gameplay stuff, which it desperately needs, because talking about like a damn near launch 360 game. Yeah. So they're doing a bunch of different things. Virtuos is the one that is handling the development of it, and they worked on a bunch of other franchises, usually as like a support studio. So like their list is at like Call of Duty, Tomb Raider, BioShock, Uncharted. Like they help other studios get stuff done, and they're taking on this as a full project. Which I feel like we're seeing a lot more of these support studios getting a shot at like doing full releases, which just makes sense because they're used to a lot of the tools from the companies they're helping. But yeah, this looks like it's going to have a lot of gameplay improvements. There was some talks about like some blocking changes being made to make it more Souls-like, which I'm super curious what the fuck that means. Because it's an Elder Scrolls game, so I don't know if that necessarily correlates with each other. But yeah, this could be a pretty big release, and just one of those ones that Microsoft is kind of just throws out there because they can, and because they just have the money and the catalog that they can mess with.
How didn't they release like 12 different versions of Skyrim?
Yes, yeah. Oblivion is due. Oblivion needs a lot of work though, so
might be why it took so long. Like in terms of the way, like, but this could totally run on a Switch too. To your point, like you circle back to the beginning of it, like and this would be a really good announcement on the Switch of like take Oblivion on the go, and because like Witcher 3, I believe, actually people said that like that port of Witcher 3 to the Switch, I heard did really, really well.
Yeah, it was a very lean version of the game, but it did work.
But for people saying for it to being on the Switch, being on the handheld, playing on the couch, or taking with me, like it's still The Witcher.
Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5 did really well on the Switch.
Yep.
So this makes sense. There is a lot of jankiness that people love about Oblivion, and I wonder how they go about using it. There's only like 6 voice actors in Oblivion, so a lot of jankiness of like characters of the same voice actor talking to each other with the exact same voice. There's moments in the game where outtakes are accidentally in the game, where you will hear them like reading stage direction or like random stuff like that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I wonder how they're going to approach that stuff if you just leave it in. There's like cutscenes in the game
because it's kind of part of the game's charm now, to your point.
Yeah. So I wonder how they approach that in terms of like, are they going to correct some of those lines? There's a lot that can be done to this, and depending on how deep they go gameplay wise, I don't think Oblivion is so sacred that like if they touch the gameplay too much, I don't think anyone's really going to throw a fit. There's a reason why Skyrim has been released a bajillion times. It's because that gameplay still holds up, and Oblivion probably would have been remade a lot, but it would have required a lot of changes to the gameplay that it looks like we might be getting now 20 years later.
Yeah.
But this I have a feeling how are you going to feel, Dave, when the Switch 2 gets announced and like half the announcements are just remakes of random games, because it's coming.
Yeah, I don't care as long as there is a Mario, a Zelda, or something there. I would be fine at this point in time with like a full Wind Waker remaster or Twilight Princess remaster or something like that, because I'm not naive enough to think that we're getting a brand new like Breath of the Wild style Zelda right at launch. I'm good. I mean, like they'll pull something. Nintendo has so much, nostalgia franchises that they can just pull something out of their back pocket, and I'd be like, I didn't even know I wanted it, but I want it.
It'll just be a teaser, and it would be like Earthbound, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, you bring Earthbound back.
Yeah. So I'm cool with that. I mean, my Switch for the most part is a portable exclusive, portable for Owen, and for me, it's just it's an exclusive machine. And that's really all I need from it, I want from it, as long as, like those Mario style 2D Marios, 3D Marios, Mario Odyssey 2, something like that. I'm game. Like I I still enjoy them. So I'm good with. I know exactly what I have the Switch for, and I'm totally content with it. And when something comes out, I get it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm playing it for the exclusives, some indies that will run better now on a Switch 2, hopefully.
It's kind of where I am with PS5 also at this point. Like it's, we'll talk about it, but like my decision for purchasing games now with like just the variety of that I have, it's actually kind of sometimes a hard decision, just with what I can do. I have so much versatility now, so it's almost like, what do I have what for? And everything I have, it has a specific niche that, depending on what goes on with it, like I pick that platform.
Yeah, for me, like I'm just waiting for the Switch 2 announcement to happen. They'll probably do an hour, and I'm waiting for the internet to throw a fit when like all the third party stuff is like ports of stuff that's a year or two old, or remakes of really old games, and then people are going to be like, "Oh, here we go again," and it's like, yes. Here we go again. This is Nintendo's bread and butter. You are here for the opening trailer that's a Nintendo game and the end trailer, which is a Nintendo game.
And everybody's going to be that meme of slamming their card on the table. Like,
you'll be pissed through 90% of the Nintendo presentation, and the last 10% is going to be like, here's a new Zelda, here's a new Mario, and it's like, okay, let me
Nintendo is like your corner market or your go-to like weekly dinner spot or wherever your takeout thing is, whatever it is, and you go in there and I don't know, let's just say that you always order a burger from Jimmy Bob's on the corner and his burger is $7 and then it's $10. Like, you're mad, but you're giving them $10 because you want your burger.
Yeah, that's how Nintendo's gonna be. But Nintendo also will justify some of their like price increases enough that you're like, you know what, that fucking makes sense, as opposed to other companies, which we'll talk about the price of certain stuff later.
I mean, in the end, you can talk about remakes, redone, telling the same story multiple times. Nintendo proper doesn't make bad games ever.
No. Even the stuff that is considered bad is still better than
their worst game that comes to mind right now is Super Mario Brothers or whatever. I can't think of like that game reviewed just came out.
Mario and Luigi Brotherhood.
Yeah, like that was like a 7 or like a 6.5, and that was super low.
They had that punching game that came out when the Switch first came out that didn't do well, but it was still like probably a 7.
So like but it's hard for you to find some stuff that you're like, and I'm not criticizing, like I'm not making fun of Concord, even though they're fun to make fun of. Like, Nintendo doesn't have a Concord situation ever.
No, I think the closest they have to that is the Wii U Star Fox game was shit, if I remember. But like, it was also I mean, Star Fox.
Starting a sentence with Wii U.
Yeah. The Wii U is a weird. The
that's
Wii
their
U's
black
probably
eye. That's their black eye. Like that's their like in your and my lifetime. Between Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Wii U, and Switch, and then now to potentially Switch 2, however many I just listed, there's one mistake.
Yeah. Because the best thing to happen on the Wii U is, I guess you can say Breath of the Wild, but I would put that more on Switch. And then
was that on Wii U?
Yeah, the first one. Because that was one of those ones where they announced it for the Wii U. The Wii U failed, and then they pivoted to like, it's a Switch game now, but they still had to release it on the Wii U. Yeah. But other than that, it was like Super Mario Maker was probably like the other big thing from the Wii U. But we'll move on to the next story. This is just I kind of find it fun, just to show you where things were at one point so recently. So the canceled Twisted Metal game had some more details emerge. So a former employee at Fire Sprite Studios recently had posted like their resume on one of these websites and basically kind of showed some of their work, had some screenshots of some early development stuff. And it looks like this Twisted Metal game, the live service Twisted Metal game, was going to be a third-person battle royale game with both vehicular and on-foot combat. A lot of people are baffled by the on-foot combat portion of this. The screenshots that are out there are very early in development, but the game had been in development for a while. It originally started as a Lucid Studios game a couple years ago, and then in 2022 it became a Fire Sprite game, and then it was canceled sometime last year. And there was a lot of... It sounds like there might have been a little bit of a rush to try and get it around the time of the TV show, but then that didn't happen, and then they were just like, oh, let's just cancel it. But yeah, this was one of the 12 live service games that PlayStation was working on. And just hearing it is a battle royale game, not too surprising, but also a very underwhelming thing to try and throw in the market, especially when you're talking about on-foot combat for a Twisted Metal game.
Yeah, I mean, this is them going, like, this is Suits in an office saying, what kind of live service game can we make? We own these IPs. Let's just do this. Like, oh, Sweet Tooth is a marketable character, blah, 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 blah. And just poor decision making, like ultimately like poor decision making in general. We've heard, like similar to like trying to shovel Naughty Dog into a live service studio, trying to potentially, like, I'm sure at one point in time that Sony Santa Monica was doing something God of War live service-esque.
I mean, we found out that Blue Point was working on the God of War live service game,
But I promise you Santa Monica touched it first.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of these things of just like, you can potentially find those things, or or Insomniac, like they were trying to take their single player franchises and make multiplayers out of them, which is which we've seen not really be a good idea unless it comes together. Like Killzone 1 had multiplayer, or no?
Yes, it had a multiplayer on PS2, which I think some people try to revive that recently.
Okay. No, my whole point was, like, when you launched the Killzone franchise, it had single player and multiplayer. And then, similar to like Call of Duty, single player, multiplayer, Halo, single player, multiplayer. These pillars of the first person shooter, or these pillars of continuous play games. Like, I mean, I'm not even really talking about live service games, but I'm talking about like, don't, finish the campaign and walk away, like opposite of that. Those games had a hook of like, oh, you like single player games, cool, buy it, there's a great story here, and then see if you like the multiplayer, or oh, you like multiplayer, buy it and see if you like the single player. But then like the next example is when you start looking at something like Uncharted 1 and 2.
Only 2 and 3 had multiplayer. 3 and 4
so 2 had it. Okay, I'm sorry. So 1 didn't, and then they were trying to capitalize on the franchise. And that multiplayer was fun and good. It just didn't have any staying power. So, but now to take something that's like souped up bumper cars, which is what Twisted Metal is, and make it a battle royale is too hard. Or to have like what we potentially heard about of like, oh, you're gonna have 5 Spider-Mans on the field at the same time doing stuff. Like, huh?
Though, to be fair, Twisted Metal on paper sounds like this could be a battle royale because it basically already was.
You're right.
But I don't think
should have stayed with car combat, to your point, I think is what you're trying to say.
They couldn't scale it to be like an actual,
because your map would have to be humongous for car combat, though, because of how fast you could get a car going versus how fast
and then if you're customizing your car too much, then it's just like, is this really Twisted Metal? Is this like, is your thumper?
Just look at a Rocket League arena for 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and think about 100 car battle royale, like how big that map would have to be.
Yeah, especially if they would balloon it up to 100, it's just like, this is going to be too chaotic, and then the
just
time
consider
to kill,
how big the Fortnite map is, and in theory, it would need to be bigger than that.
Yeah, because you're talking about ice cream trucks and tanks having to run around.
So that's a lot.
Yeah,
it's cool that we're finding out about this stuff, but like, there's just some of this stuff where it sounds good on a whiteboard, and then you really try to like make a game out of it, and you're like,
well, that could be one of the things to where I'm not going to say Bungie had a part in it, but on paper you're like, this could work, and then Bungie's just like, will it work in 6 months? And then they're like, we didn't think of 6 months later. We just thought of day one when we had a bunch of people playing.
Whether you like him or don't like him, the continuous player development like president sits on a thing and says, so why do I play on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday? And they're like, excuse me? Like, okay, like, cool. What happens at 6 a.m. on Tuesday? Yeah. What are you talking about? What happens at 6 a.m. on Wednesday? Why does that matter? Because this is what you're trying to accomplish, and this is what we've been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
Or for 12 years or whatever. Yeah.
Just having
anybody could have that same conversation, though. Like, somebody from Epic could still say that.
We're having that conversation now.
Somebody from on the Apex team, of just a consultant of, just... there's that dopamine hit. Like, how do you accomplish that dopamine hit? And unfortunately, Sony has not been able to do that in my time of covering video games in a multiplayer-esque aspect.
Yeah, they've had multiplayers that have they've had multiplayers hit for like 6 months at a time, but like long legs, they just never been able to do. Especially when you're talking about like a battle royale game, you have to be playing to unlock something because it's not about just getting the victory. And it's just like, okay, so like, is your Sweet Tooth? Am I doing a custom character? And then is that it's just a car combat name with Twisted Metal, or car combat game with Twisted Metal as the name?
Because I guess you know more than I do, but like when you're saying that, it's making me think the Anthony Mackie character in the show. Is he a Twisted Metal character?
I don't think he is.
I think he was a new.
Yeah,
he wasn't
he's a new
canon.
character. He's interacting
right?
with named
correct
characters. But
to your point, then are we making our own Twisted Metal avatar, or are we taking over an avatar?
Yeah, and then at a certain point, if I'm customizing it too much, I'm gonna lose.
Does somebody else get to control Sweet Tooth? Does Twisted Metal have enough? Is it like Sweet Tooth, like an event boss that everybody kind of goes to the middle of the map? What do you do? Like there's so many questions you can ask of like how something works or why it doesn't work. And it's hard. Like, I mean, I obviously like I've never even made a game, but to find that niche, like Fortnite found that niche, love it or hate it or like it or don't like it. Bungie found that niche. They had their own world, their own characters, their own thing. And Fortnite's gone completely off the rails. But then, Marvel Rivals currently right now has not necessarily found their own thing, but they've been able to find their niche with something else.
And we're already though starting to see that lose a little steam, even though it is like the biggest played game right now.
Yeah. And Overwatch found it with potentially canceled Titan characters, like from what we've been hearing. Of like this was supposed to be like a successor to World of Warcraft that turned into Overwatch. So those are like some of those accidental things. I mean, people forget like Fortnite was a tower defense game.
Yeah. It wasn't actually terrible. Like, I'm so sad that they destroyed that game because I actually liked OG Fortnite.
And then all of a sudden they saw some people like fighting each other and like, oh, let's like spin it off and have some fun with it. Boom.
Yeah, they saw PUBG basically going crazy and they're just like, we can do that right now. It's a lot of our big successful games are lightning in a bottle moments, and anytime people try to apply their franchise to it, it just doesn't really work out. There's a reason why the biggest competitor of Fortnite for a little bit was Apex, because that's an original idea that it just worked, as opposed to them trying to, when they try to make Battlefield have Battle Royale, it didn't work because you're super gluing a franchise onto
with a slight foundation of Titanfall though. Like there was still the little bit of that foundation there.
You built something completely on top of it, as opposed to just slapping on a label of another game and being like, fuck it, let's make this fit. That's
just using it as an example. Everybody, I mean, you've played a lot of them, but like if you could take the team, and I don't know if this is even a team within Bungie, but if you could take the guys that make the shooting mechanic, okay, that make the first person shooting mechanic, which Bungie is known for, and put that in something like in like, let's say like Sony owns them, so let's say that Sony tries to then put something in a world of like another studio, and then they bring the shooting guys from Bungie to say, okay, we want to make this, we want this game to shoot and feel like Destiny shoots and feels. And I know Concord kind of was that.
I was gonna say, because those guys were, because Concord did have shooting that felt good.
Yeah,
everything else was trash. They didn't bring the story people with them.
Right, and then try to like, I don't know, like, and then okay, this game is going to shoot like Destiny or shoot like Halo, but play like Fortnite or something. Like if they could find that mix together. And the problem is that you're going to hear a lot about the misses, like you're like the swings, and now we're up to 10 or 12 misses, and it cost Jim Ryan his job. Well,
but also if you just look at it of just like how many people from Bungie have got to make their own studios, and like nothing has come from those studios, because like people see lightning in a bottle.
So what is it then? Yeah. But so like with like even since I've been paying attention to Bungie, their turnover is ridiculous.
Yeah, because everyone is like picking talent from them, right? Like we want,
and I don't disagree with that. But then how does it still hold? How is the foundation still there if it's a solid shooter?
It's the thing that, like when you talk about like how the fuck did Belichick keep the Patriots going for so long? And it's like, well, he had Tom Brady, but also there was a system there where they would plug in players around Tom Brady and be like,
I just want to know who Bungie's Tom Brady is because every time I think it is somebody, they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's fine. And
which
to be
could
fair,
be the CEO who's like still there that people just don't like anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least two franchises that would arguably be in people's top 50 lists.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing you can say about Fortnite. A lot of people have left Epic and got their own studios and were hired by other studios. PlayStation hired a bunch of people from Epic Games over the last couple of years, and nothing really came from that.
Or like we talked about too, what does Barlog have that other people don't have, where Sony was like, okay, we're screwed. Go find them and pay them because we can't do anything.
Or we were just talking about one of the founders or one of the co-creators of Halo. That dude's bounced from publisher to publisher to publisher, and nothing's come of it.
Or Amy Hennig without Naughty Dog. Like, we're gonna get to it. Yeah. But like, you're this amazing free agent, but now you're away from your system, to your point, and you're not producing. Like, you haven't produced yet. I hope that whatever she's producing is great, but it's just like we're gonna see it soon. What is Insomniac without Ted Price? Like, we're gonna see it, and we're really close based on how it sounds like he's talking and interviewing. I think Intergalactic is probably Druckmann's last game.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing too with Druckmann. But yeah, it's like, what is Naughty Dog then? Because Naughty Dog also, outside of the big people there, a shit ton of turnover, because they're one of those prestige things where someone from Naughty Dog leaves and they can get a job anywhere else they want. So yeah, no, it's kind of crazy seeing all of this kind of go around, and you see how some of these studios do function like dynasties or franchises.
I wonder what that would be like, man. Like, all right, video game industry gets reset, and we're gonna draw names out of a hat for draft.
Yeah,
who's the first overall pick out of the video game staff?
Somehow get me Druckmann and Kojima on the same team and let them just go crazy. But yeah, no, people are always hopping around, and it's just kind of interesting to see how some companies still function, some companies don't. But speaking of Amy Hennig, we have a kind of an update on Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra. So according to one of the voice actors, I believe the voice actor of Black Panther, the game is apparently supposed to come out, what they say is around Christmas time, which I would assume would be holiday time, because releasing it around Christmas is crazy. Please don't do that. Releasing your game in December is just it's death. But according to that actor, it should be coming out sometime this year, and are working for a Christmas time window. I don't know how reliable a voice actor is on these situations. They've been pretty quiet about this game since it was revealed last year. We got some concept art from Amy Hennig late last year, and then at GDC apparently they were showing footage of the game because it's running on Unreal 5. So we at least know there is like some playable footage out there somewhere. But now it's just a matter of, is it actually going to hit in 2025, and will it be around holiday time? It could be. But Dave, we were just talking about this game like 2 weeks ago. Do you think
I'll be very curious. So GDC this year is the 17th through the 21st, so like this week as we're recording. So potentially we could have some more. I think a voice actor saying Christmas is essentially him just miscommunicating what a video game publisher would say in holiday. And holiday is October, November. I hope, like, I really do hope, because one, I want to see what this is, and two, I want to experience a good Marvel game, and what I hope is a good Marvel game. But at the same time, like, we just we're on the heels of what has been rated as a slightly average to maybe a smidge above average Marvel movie that just came out that involved Captain America, and no Black Panther stuff on the horizon that I'm aware of.
It's in production, but I think it's not.
But not coming in the next 12 months.
No, so, which I feel like this is their window. Then it's like after Captain America, before the next Black Panther, release your Captain America Black Panther game, because you don't know.
I'm with you. If you can't get this out by election day, you need to kick it to Easter-ish, to March, April. Like not December, January, February. Like maybe February, maybe. Only because you could come off the heels of like marketing through like the NFL playoffs and everything like that. And we know that Marvel has the cash to take care of that. So I hope. I mean, I want. I've been saying it for a while. I mean, I want some stuff. I want some things that feel like it's been a long time since I think we had a must play game like that. Like, okay, like it doesn't really, like, you gotta play it. Like, it's great. Like, you gotta play it.
And this has so much potential just off like that trailer and the story, because it's something different we haven't seen from a Marvel video game.
Yep.
Which the last couple years, Marvel games outside of Spider-Man have just been like team up, sort of like ensemble casts. Like, this technically is an ensemble cast.
And I want a cool, unique beginning, middle, and end story arc. I don't want something that I got to walk away from and be like, damn, when's the next one coming?
Yeah.
Because like that's immediately been my mindset with Spider-Man. Like, it's, like, oh, they showed this. Like, I don't want a post-credit scene. Like, I want this to be a introduction to two characters, which, like the pre-Frozen Captain America, pre-T'Challa, Black Panther, and then I want it to be like, okay, here's the characters, here's what's going on, here's the villain, here's the arc, here's the villain, here's the conclusion, and we walk away. Like, that's what I want. And I really, I don't, and I hope that we get it. I don't want to hear. I don't want. It's gonna sound. I don't want Marvel 1944.
Well, the thing is, so, man, I'm trying to look. So Cap got frozen at the end of World War II. This takes place 1943. So he would have been frozen 45-ish.
Yeah.
So maybe this could be a one and done. I'm kind of also hoping for a one and done sort of thing. Or if they do like another.
Or if the story ties into him getting frozen.
Yeah.
That would I would feel fine with that, like, because then there would be a justification for there not to be another game, know.
Or if there is, it jumps significantly in the future, and then you can get a whole new set of characters, which will make things fresh.
Right. Yep.
There's a lot of potential for this, and if they truly are going to release it this year, from announcement to release, that would be a great turnaround. I don't know how long it's actually been in development, but it would be nice to have something announced and released. Then we'll be stuck in like sequel hell of just like 5 years later. It's like, hey, you guys announced 1944 or 2000, whatever.
This would be this would not be a release date revealed at GDC, no chance, I don't think. But then this is something that Keighley could have at a Summer Game or Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. Or if they wanted to, Nintendo's got an announcement thing coming that can run potentially better games. I don't think it would work. I don't
think this can run on the Switch or the 2. I don't think this can run on the Switch. I don't want this to run on the Switch too.
Well, I think we'll find out from GDC whether how good Unreal Engine 5 runs on the Switch 2, because I feel like they'll be allowed to talk about that at GDC, and then we might have a better idea of what it can do. Because we're probably going to get a lot of stuff, though. So you said GDC is this week, so that's why. Yeah,
17th through the 23rd. Okay. I think when I did a quick Google search.
Yeah. So we'll start probably seeing a lot of Switch stuff leak out, and then if this is going to be showcased for Unreal Engine 5 stuff, then we might get some footage coming out of it.
Yeah. The other thing I kind of want to split in here real quick before you go on to the next story. I want your opinion on it. I don't know if you saw this or didn't see this. I haven't done a ton of research on it or read on it, but are you seeing or hearing the rumors about this Xbox handheld teamed up with Asus?
Yeah, I did see that. So I saw two conflicting reports. I saw one of like it might come out this year, and then another report being like it's not coming out anytime soon. Okay,
so what do you think this is? What is your opinion of what this is?
I think it might be like a ROG Ally, like it might be an actual PC. I don't think it's going to be. There's a ton of handheld PCs, especially in like the Chinese market. As well, I have a feeling this isn't going to be a built from the ground up Xbox handheld. This is going to be a Windows handheld from another manufacturer that Xbox is going to slap their logo on, because it's a PC, so like it doesn't need to be crazy built from the ground up for Xbox.
I think it's going to be between a Portal and a ROG Ally. I think this is going to be about a $400 to $500 machine, and it's going to strictly run. I mean, it can do other things, but the core of it's going to be is to essentially use Game Pass Cloud.
I can see
to
that.
Deal with the processing offset. This thing can't. Microsoft and as a company cannot release something around the same price as a ROG Ally. It will not sell.
They can and will. I think they'll use tariffs as a reason to jack up prices potentially, depending on where they're importing it from.
I just don't see a third similar device in this market. Between the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and whatever this Xbox would be.
I think Microsoft...
This has to be an opening price point value.
I think this market is too niche for it to ever catch on, that I feel like they would be fine releasing a $600 machine because it's for a very specific market. And Steam seems really slow on releasing new Steam Decks, so there is a opportunity for Microsoft to be like, we can pump out a $600 thing that's upgraded and slightly better than the Steam Deck.
Unless this is going to be the Ally 2, unless Microsoft's paying essentially to buy the ROG Ally 2.
But the only thing is they don't have to.
Because we've heard rumors about that too.
Yeah, I think they're fully okay competing against it because the Steam Deck is still significantly more popular than the ROG Ally. So I think, if anything, they're like, they don't mind sitting right next to the ROG Ally. They're more interested in like, can we undercut the Steam Deck, which I think is more successful than even Steam was expecting it to be.
Agreed.
But also Steam knows like, hey, this is a niche product, so we can charge like a decent amount of money for it. And I think Microsoft, combination of it being a niche market and just regular corporate greed, no, you can get away with an expensive machine right now.
Well, and either way, Steam benefits from it because you're still going to have to buy games on Steam on this Microsoft device.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft Store will be on there, but first thing you're going to do is want to put Steam on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see it launching this year. I think this is going to be a weird year with pricing and stuff like that. Like that's what I'm super interested for the Switch reveal is I want to know what that price is because Nintendo has been pretty good price-wise in the past, but like if you want to talk about an opportunity to throw out a crazy-ass price and have no one bat an eyelash, it's this year. You can get away with putting a crazy price and then being like, hey guys, it's not our fault. And, we're already seeing companies take advantage of, some of that stuff by jacking up price. And it's like, why are you raising prices?
Trust me, my job, I'm terrified of my job. So
yeah, no, it's crazy how some of that stuff is. So I can see, because there's already reports that like the video game industry is prepping for like what they could be affected by. So I wonder if Microsoft would hold back just to be like maybe 2026 so they can have a more reasonably priced machine. Yeah. So we'll have to see exactly where that goes.
Speaking of something being reasonably priced.
Yeah. Our last story. So Michael Pachter from Wedbush Securities is analyst on the business side of video game stuff. You've heard his name for fucking decades now. He believes that Grand Theft Auto will be set at $100 price point for the game. So speaking on his podcast, I believe, or to his analysts or to his clientele, because he's an investor analyst. So he tells people that don't know gaming what they should invest in. So he's coming at it from a very different perspective than most people do. He believes that Rockstar and Take-Two could end up charging $100 for GTA 6. And we're talking about $100 for the base game, but how he feels they will justify it is it's the base game with online, GTA Online, and a bunch of in-game currency, credit, and items, so people will feel more accepting of $100 price tag. He points to Call of Duty being successful with like some of their premium edition stuff, saying that since they started to introduce like those premium editions, they've seen like a 40% increase in their total. Like
Ubisoft does this
premium stuff. So it's just one of those things where like, so what I mean by that is like Call of Duty would have premium editions that would be like, oh, here's like a fucking RC car and fridge stuff. And those did okay, but then when they switched to premium editions of like, here's a bunch of digital shit, they saw a significant increase in selling those than selling like physical goods.
Same thing with the gold editions for Mario Rabbids, all these Ubisoft games. So Avatar, everything.
Yeah. So he feels that $100 price tag could be justified by Take-Two, basically because there's such a high demand for it, and GTA Online was so popular. According to other outlets, a lot of publishers and developers are hoping Take-Two and Rockstar price GTA 6 at $80 to $100 because they also want to desperately increase their prices, but don't want to be the first one to take that step. So they're kind of hoping GTA, as a fail-proof sort of game, can withstand the backlash of $100 game, so then they can price their game a little bit higher and be like, well, look, Grand Theft Auto did it.
Please Like 100%. Please do it. Take-Two, do it. I've been saying that I want somebody to come out and stop saying all this other, like the, like, oh, the $10 every 3 months. And I just, like, I mean, the days of the $60 and $70 game are few and far between. I just really want somebody to come out and say our game costs $100 and this is what you get. Or my game cost $100 for the next, and this covers you don't have to open your wallet again other than cosmetic stuff for the next 12 months. Like, you're done. Like, and I want that. And, maybe it needs to be $120. I don't know what the number is, but please. Yeah.
The only thing is I see what you're saying, Dave, but I don't trust the greed of these companies to like actually be like $100 game. We're never going to ask you for another cent.
No, I'm saying for 12 months. Like,
I don't even think like
but you don't have to pay for game content, in-game content, not GTA bucks, not different color jacket, different color paint job in the car, different color music tracks of like.
You're talking about story expansions for multiplayer,
correct,
and all that stuff
for a year. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a spot with Take-Two and Grand Theft Auto that they would be like, here's your $100 edition. You got the first expansion, and they're like, is there going to be a second expansion? And like, we don't have anything to announce. And then 3 months later, like, here's a second expansion for $20. Okay. I do want to like live in a world where they're like, it's $100. We're not going to ask you for money for a year. Here's our year one content. You're getting that all for this $100. But the other companies also being like, we need them to do it so we can match them is crazy because Grand Theft Auto is supposed to be this gigantic game that like.
And to be fair, they really haven't done expansions to GTA 5.
No, just online stuff like new heists and stuff like that.
Right, but that didn't cost money. You could buy the V-Bucks or whatever you could buy, but I mean, I'm saying for you to get like, I don't even know if this is a thing, but to get Bank Heist Island, I don't think that cost like I don't think they sold like a $10 pass or a $20 access pass. I don't think they did that. I could be wrong. I don't play GTA. I also won't play GTA. I probably won't play GTA 6.
So I think it was like a crazy system to where if you wanted heists, there was upfront costs in terms of in-game money. So you would have to have a certain amount of in-game money so then you can do heists.
Okay.
You could buy shark
but in terms of
whatever.
like for what you were getting for $60 at the time, like it was arguably like the best value in gaming, like in terms of like what you got in GTA 5.
Yeah, in terms of like what their online ended up becoming. It took a while to get there, but yeah.
But even just the campaign and access and like the that was the one that had the 3 different protagonists, right?
Yes, yeah, GTA 5.
Okay. Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about this, if they do say like, okay, here's a $100 edition, there's no other edition. It's going to have online extra bonuses and stuff like that. What do you do with GTA Online for 5, which is the moneymaker for them and has been a moneymaker for like 10 years now?
Yeah, how do you get them off 5 on a 6?
How? Though, if you're like, hey,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, how do you get them off 5 on a 6? Yeah,
especially if you're like, the only way to get to 5 to 6 is spend $100, and you're just like, what about my apartment? What about all my cars that are in my current GTA Online? What do you do with that? And could this backfire on Rockstar if they get too greedy trying to get people to jump to, and they don't? Like, do you
sell a $60 or $70 digital only SKU that's only accessible to players with X amount of bucks in 5? That ends up like they end up taking $30 or $40 or $100 of the GTA digital currency to say, okay, you want to transport your life from GTA 5 to GTA 6, buy this, and I'm going to use air quotes when I say this, buy this PlayStation $10 upgrade that we're seeing for like Days Gone and Ghost of Tsushima style thing. It won't be $10, and you can then take your GTA life and put it in 6, but you have to buy this version. You have to buy in order for you to have access to the $70 version of the game, you have to have $100 million in GTA money. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, if you're building a new like ecosystem, and like they have to find a way to.
How did the transition from 4 go?
4 didn't have like a real multiplayer that was like a living world. It was just like lobbies. They built a living world basically with 5. So like they have a really tricky situation in terms of just like, okay, we want people to jump to 6, but we also can't afford to lose the revenue we get for 5. So we need all those people from 5 to jump to 6 right away. But they're going to be in situations where, like, if you can't transfer your money from 5 to 6, you have people that have spent
fuck you,
an ungodly amount of hours in that game that don't want to lose their billions of dollars if they transfer. And then also, if you do allow them to transfer,
that's a great point. Yeah,
and if you do allow them to transfer, then they can do whatever, they can buy whatever they want in 6, and then they lose their incentive to play.
This is not Rockstar's style, but Rockstar needs to come out and have a GTA day. And they need to come out on a stage, whether it's in New York or LA or wherever they're, Chicago, wherever the hell they're going to be.
Yeah.
And they need to put some people on stage and be like, hey, GTA 6 is real. We already know that. This is the day it's coming. And this is how this transition is going to go. Like, they need to start, and I'm sure that there's some top tier GTA creators that they need to bring out there, and they need to cover it, and they need to let them know. And there needs to, I didn't really even think about that though, because of we're talking about, this game came out on PS3?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yep.
Yeah.
10 plus years, I want to say, or 9, something like that.
And, certain games after certain times have had cold resets, and the communities have not reacted well to that. Like to full resets. And then like the thing that's even harder, and I don't know enough about GTA to speak any kind of depth into this, but are you going to have to like re-earn something that you paid for?
That's what that's a lot of unanswered
Destiny
questions.
got a lot of crap for that. Like, Destiny got a lot of crap for that. Oh, you made me buy Destiny 2. And then, 2 years later, you made me go back and earn and pay for, again, something I already had in Destiny 1, and you just didn't give it to me. So there was, you took away all my weapons, you took away my cosmetics, and now you're selling them to me again. And so now, like, oh, I want my GT Mustang, with my
that I spent like real money to like acquire.
Yeah, that's in my garage in GTA 5, and I can't bring it to 6, and you want another $50 for that? No. Like,
or like if they do a thing where it's just like, okay, you can bring your character between 5 and 6, and it's like, well, can I go back and forth? Or is it a one-time transfer and my character's now in Florida with no money, and like what happens to like,
because there's no way that GTA 6 online and GTA 5 online will cross, right? Like, there's no way that if I'm playing 5 that you can be.
So like, I don't think it's possible because of all the new features that they'll add to 6, but what they could do is your physical character can transfer between. And you treat them as 2 separate like servers basically, but you would need both games in order to do that, because it'd be weird if like they just had like a hub.
How did Overwatch handle 1 to 2 like that though?
They killed 1.
But what did they do about the cosmetics and stuff? Like, did you?
You still had your cosmetics, but at that point it wasn't that big a deal. But we're not talking about
but one was already declining, and GTA's either I'm sure GTA's declining, but GTA's decline is significantly different than the other game's decline. GTA's decline, to Michael's point when he always talks about spikes and peaks and valleys, GTA's decline is like walking down a barely angled ramp that you can barely realize, like you turn around and realize that you were walking downhill and you didn't even feel it. Like at an amusement park, like a slight decline.
Yeah. So like right now, there's currently apparently 400,000 online players on Grand Theft Auto right now.
Okay.
On Grand Theft Auto
across
5.
all across all platforms,
according to some according to like some like skimming things.
Yeah, gotcha.
Apparently, active players, it's still like as of June, according to Google, this could be wrong. Active users in June 2024 is about 25 million active users.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 400,000 on a Thursday night in March.
Yeah,
like that's good. Tons and tons of company will take that.
Apparently,
for a 10-year-old game.
At its peak, it was over 30 million active users. And now apparently last year they were down to like 25 million active users. Okay. So like you're talking about a lot of people, and this is Grand Theft Auto, so a lot of people will just jump because it's Grand Theft Auto and they want to see the new single player game, but it's those people will jump to play the single player game.
How many of them own a Series X and how many of them own a PS5 at this point? Like, because if they're primarily playing GTA, like there's been really no, like, did it get a PS5 boost?
Yeah,
it did. Okay.
Yeah, it's been released like 3 times. It made 3, 4, and then 5. So yeah, like those people are on there, and GTA Online just gets updates, and I think they killed GTA Online for PS3 several years ago. So like they've been at least keeping it active on PS4, PS5, but at a certain point, they might have to make that tough decision of like, yeah, we're just going to kill it, and deal with it basically.
Do you think that they'll do that right up the launch? Like they'll be like, okay, you get a month.
Apparently on Steam there's 43,000 currently right now at this moment.
Damn.
Yeah. At 24-hour peak it was 100,000. So in the last 24 hours it hit 100,000 just on Steam. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are invested in this game. That it's just, I don't know what they do, and I can't wait to see the backlash and to see what they do. Like, to your point, they need to do an un-Rockstar thing of a presentation of just like, it doesn't even have to involve any of the single player stuff. It literally needs to be like, we want to talk to all our GTA Online players, and like, we have not forgotten you, and here's the process to transfer your money.
Yeah, like what if that's a state of play style thing? Like maybe you don't do like a press conference thing at a venue. Like maybe you put I don't know enough about this to say this, but maybe you put the head community guy and with the head director and put them a camera in front of them and do a fireside chat style thing, and they have this conversation and they talk about it and what it's going to look like, and they release a detailed blog post with links and stuff like that. Like, I mean, the only perception I have is what when Destiny talks about like how this is going to change and what's going to happen here, and that wasn't even transitioning games really, but they need to do something. And the other scary part is like, how do you communicate that to the in the know players? How do you communicate that to the head down GTA player that just likes to have fun with their buddies? Splash
page on the GTA Online of just like, hey, we're going to talk about the future of this thing, and then you play an in-game video or something. I mean, Rockstar could do a Rockstar.
Make it an in-game event where the guys are like, get a cutscene in the game. Like, I don't know. Yeah, hey man, we all got to move. Like they're gonna nuke the planet. They're gonna nuke the island or something like that.
We're gonna destroy California, and the only safe place to go is Florida. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on me until like this Michael Pachter stuff prediction, came out a couple days ago. To where I was just like, their ecosystem is going to be something that like other studios then are going to study. Like, if they are successful with this, Bungie's...
This was even like releasing Fortnite 2.
Yeah, no, if they're successful with this, Epic might be like, let's see what we can do for Fortnite. Bungie might be like, Destiny 3 sounds like it's possible now. Like a lot of studios will look at this not only for like, hey, we can charge $100 for our fucking
maybe
game.
A new World of Warcraft is in the cards if we can follow that mantra.
Yeah.
That cadence,
Yeah. And a lot of them will end up failing because they're not Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. League of Legends 2. Like, I don't, like...
Yeah. No, and there's been on and off rumors about, like League of Legends for a while. And a lot of these companies need to know, because you can look at what Overwatch did, and Overwatch failed. Their transition,
but you have a ton of games. Wow, League of Legends. Like these games where like there's these
Apex. EA's been constantly
rooted.
going back and forth on it.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see where this goes, and hopefully we find out soon what their plans are. I'm not even a GTA player, Dave. I don't think you are really either.
No.
But we are fascinated by the business side of this.
The
stuff.
analytic part of it, yeah. Like, let me see, like.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because we're talking about potentially this. Like the rumors are that this game is coming out in October.
Yeah.
So like, there's already like, this is a game that gets talked about like when I get in the barber shops, like when I get my haircut, people are like, oh, like, well, I'm like, GTA. I keep telling people it's not coming this year. Like, I don't really think it's coming this year. But to your point, and now like everything you just mentioned now just revalidates my thought of it's not coming this year. I hope I'm wrong, because like like we're launching a new title like this for the hardware business. Fascinating, like super fascinating.
Yeah, it's going to be like college football. where people were buying
times 10.
Yeah, times 10. Yeah, exactly.
But I just want to see like what the change would be. Like, I mean, like if there would be a change, like would this move Xbox hardware over PlayStation hardware? Like, I don't know. Like the GTA player is very different.
It's
like,
whoever gets their tag at the end of the ad. Like, there's going to be a competition between PlayStation and Xbox of who gets their logo at the end of the
And we're in March. And if we're talking about November, like, where is this marketing going to come from? Like, obviously, we're going to have huge marketing in September. And the biggest marketable thing right now is, I mean, as much as people hate it, the biggest marketable thing right now is football. Mm-hmm. College football and pro football. And so you get that month, in September, essentially, to market the mess out of it. But at the same time, like, I feel like we need a date by the NBA Finals, right?
It's a big enough franchise that I don't even think you need to do the 90-day window.
Wow. But if you have to answer all of these questions about transitions.
Oh, no, you have to answer that. But the release date itself, I feel like they can take as long as they want for that. But they have to answer questions before that. And they can play around with the date for as long as they want. So
you're saying that you think they can get away with possibly advertising the NBA Finals GTA 6
this
fall 2025?
Yeah, because that would be more significant confirmation than what we've gotten before.
Okay.
Or they could just throw, a generic month on there and be like, was it beginning of the month, end of the month? And they play.
And I know probably a good chunk of you don't listen or don't pay as much of attention to sports as Michael and I pay attention to sports. I would argue I pay a little bit more attention to sports than Michael does. But the NBA Finals and the NFL are, other than I would say like world news or something like that, is probably some of the most watched eyeballs of who they are marketing towards.
Oh yeah. Even like the NBA is down right now, but when they put a game on ABC, like 3 to 5 million people watch it.
In terms of who they're marketing towards, the male, it's still a male, but the 18 to hell, I don't even know what you want to call it now. The 18 to 45-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's NBA Finals and it's NFL and college.
And also, Grand Theft Auto is a billboard sort of
Correct.
franchise, so we'll see bus ads, the billboard ads. You'll see a bunch of GTA stuff everywhere.
Which is kind of why I'm surprised that we're not seeing a couple accidental leaks yet as we're getting closer. Like images
after those huge leaks from that kid that worked at Rockstar.
Now you're talking about bus decals. You're talking about billboards. You're talking about like some of this stuff is getting a little outside of Rockstar's offices.
They have a factory that their whole job is someone waiting for the phone, waiting for someone from Take-Two to be like print, and then they hit print. They're like October 10th, and then they hit print, and then they're good to go. Like, Michael, you got this new job, but I haven't seen you in in 3 months. Yeah, man, I have to live in the basement. They got these really cool apartments, but I'm not allowed to leave the building. Mm-hmm. What? So, like, what do you do? At one
point, you just print flyers, right? He's like, yeah, but I mean, like, I signed this contract, man. I can only leave with. Do you see this guy over here? Like, that looks like Secret Service. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get some tacos.
Yeah. At one point, I'm going to get a phone call. They're going to tell me a day, and I'm not no other information. And then I'm just going to go to my computer. I'm going to put the day in and hit print.
In a smaller aspect, when I got to play Destiny 2 campaign before it came out, like that's kind of what it felt like when I went out to Seattle, and it's like, okay, I got picked up by Activision, took to the hotel. The hotel that we played the game in is where we slept. And it was like, where are you going? And I'm like, they're like, you can't go outside. I'm just like, excuse me. They didn't say that. We did have like free time, but it was one of those things where like, sir, you have everything you need inside of these 4 walls. You do not need to leave this building. And I'm like, okay.
I forgot what game I saw that they didn't tell me what I was going to see, but you knew what you were going to see, and it was so secretive, and it's just like, you could have just fucking told me. It might have been Assassin's Creed or something.
Yeah. No, but it was just kind of one of those fascinating things of like, okay, here you go. Like,
I always wanted to get invited to those Sega review parties, because apparently they pick like exotic locations every time they do those.
Oh, really?
Like, they always pick like Hawaii or some like mountain area, and I'm just like, could have gotten an invite for a Sonic game.
the couple like Ubisoft things I got to go to, like when they revealed like Far Cry 5 with like the cult, like they took us out to like the cult aspect of it. They took us out to like I flew into San Francisco, I think, and then they're like, yeah, your Uber is an hour and a half from the airport. I'm like, excuse me. So I was like,
I always got sent to warehouses, even if they were huge games. I was just like, I'm going to a warehouse.
Like, even the Uber driver's like, where are you going? I'm like, I don't know, man. Just like I had a little, I showed him my phone. I said, this is like the code I put in for Uber and Lyft, and these are the two areas that I can go. I can go to the airport, and I can go to this farm. So, like,
the Uber driver just being like, hey man, I'm not an accomplice to this murder.
Like, I don't know where you're going, bro, but like, I was like, I didn't even know San Francisco had this kind of stuff, and then he's like, we're not in San Francisco. Like,
no, I just always got sent to like some like random factory building, and I'm just like, this is a sketchy neighborhood, and then asking the PR people like, why'd you pick this area?
To put it in more like slightly more other perspective, even during E3, sometimes some of the things that we would go into, like you're talking about, like, you know, you and I are comfortable enough going into restaurants in Detroit and Chicago of like what we would call quote unquote like hole in the wall restaurants, where you go in there and there's like 12 tables total, and it's like this galley style, like alley style kitchen or restaurant. Then you go into this venue, or if this it's I could, I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. Like, I could spread my arms across and touch both walls, so, like, and it's just full of like cubicles and monitors, and you're like I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
and it's like it's between like a tattoo parlor and a coffee shop.
Like, I just anytime we would go to Ubisoft, where they would go to that one theater, and like it'd be daytime when we would enter, and it would be really nice, and then we'd go out and it'd turn into like this horrible fucking shanty town, and you're just like, what happened? And it's like nighttime happened. It's like, E3. But me and you were probably the only ones, maybe Josh to a lesser extent, were the only ones that didn't mind being in the city around the craziness.
Can you imagine some of our former colleagues staying in that place that we stayed in the last time we went?
Oh God, no! They would have freaked
like in
the
the real
out.
neighborhood. Like we were in
not
like
have
a
heard
neighborhood.
The end of it. We walked to E3 every day, and each day we were just like, "Oh, these fuckers would hate this."
We would just walk by, like, yeah, we'll buy that. We'll buy that donut from the cart over there. Like, we're hungry.
Just anytime we were with everyone, and then they'd be like, "Oh, it's a really sketchy neighborhood," and we're just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
It's like with like Michael and I are just used to stepping over people sleeping in the street. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just like, there's a police station not too far. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
They're like, well, there's a police station there for a reason. I'm like, I'm used to it.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, that's all I have for news, Dave.
All right, so playing and watching, I'm going to have you go first because your list on this screen is a little bit longer than mine. Use Split Fiction at the end, and we'll transition together.
Yeah. So I finally picked up Balatro. I actually picked it up last year and just got around to playing it. This is the...
Just put that on Game Pass, didn't they?
Yeah, it just hit Game Pass. This is the indie like poker game that came out and won like a bunch of Game of the Year awards. It's... I really like it. It's basically you're playing poker and you're just trying to get different Joker cards to give you different multipliers to your poker hands. You level up each hand. So if you get a full house a certain amount of times, two pairs a certain amount of time, you level up how many points you get for, getting those cards in. And then the Jokers are wild cards that give you different abilities. So like, you get a 10 times multiplier if you have this suit used or this color used. And you collect different Jokers, and you can have 5 at a time, and you're just constantly like trying to build out like a perfect deck of combination of like Jokers that you have. And then you can also add cards to the standard 52 set, so then you can kind of like get more of a certain type of hand based on what cards you add to it. And this is all done through like random purchases that you get or that you can do, as well as like packs of cards that you open that you can just add to your deck. I see why people really loved this game, because it was kind of addicting, and like basically you play against the computer, and the computer will give you just like different like financial goals to hit. So it's like you must score 100,000 points in order to win, and you have to use your combination of Joker multipliers, the hands you've leveled up to get this. I beat technically the standard mode on like my third or fourth try. And after that, it's just like, okay, you can just do endless mode. I just lost all fucking passion for the game after like 3 runs. Because after I got into endless mode, I just felt like it just wouldn't end. And then I was just like, oh, this game's not fun for me anymore. So I don't know if it was just too short. I just got a good cards dealt to me in terms of just like, I just had luck of the draw in terms of like what cards I was able to purchase between, rounds and stuff like that. But I was disappointed with this game. Like I was really into it, and then I guess I got a good run. It was like, you've unlocked endless mode, congratulations. And then I was just like, I think I'm done. I tried to do endless mode and it just felt like it wouldn't end. And then I'm just like, okay. I don't know how people consistently play this game, because I think I saw everything I needed to see. And I was just kind of disappointed at the end. But I see the appeal of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know why it just didn't click enough with me in terms of the endless mode, because Dave, as you know, I fucking love Tetris. I love like random puzzle games that you'll hear me play, or you hear me bring up like every once in a while, like, oh, I put fucking 100 hours into Tetris 99, or
yeah, but do you
Lumines.
like Uno?
Yeah,
I
like
Uno with friends.
Yeah,
okay.
I like poker.
I
like Uno.
Okay.
Does
Balatro have an online? Does it have any kind of online functionality?
No, it's just against the CPU, and you're not like playing poker hand versus poker hand. You're just basically making poker hands to get to a certain score, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm not like competing necessarily.
I don't know enough about the game. I mean, other than like, I don't just was it a right place, right time thing for it to like spark that much competition?
I think so. They also released a phone version of it, and it seems like a perfect sort of game to have on the phone. I picked it up on the Switch. Again, I think it's fun. It's just once I got to the endless mode, I just didn't really see the appeal. You can't. There's like a bunch of jokers you can collect, a bunch of different card packs you can collect, and the collectible aspect doesn't.
How quick are the games?
So you basically go on like roguelike runs, basically. So like,
But I mean, are we talking about like picking up your phone during commercials, or like playing it like while you're waiting to get called back to it? Yeah. So that's where the legs come from. Of like for like people can just pick up their Switch or pick up their whatever and like, oh, they're watching the football game, they're watching their show or whatever, and it's and just do that.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, it's not that I like the endless mode. Like, I guess you could have fun just having an endless game, just see how far you can go. But at a certain point, if you build out your deck of cards right or whatever, or like your OP, it feels like you could just keep the endless mode actually running endlessly, and at a certain point it just wasn't fun for me. So I just don't know. I don't know exactly what happened or what didn't click at the end of it, to where I'm just like, oh, I'd rather play threes on my phone or something else than that. I still like it. I'm glad I bought it. Got to check it out. I bought a physical edition of it.
Nice.
So like, I'm fine with it. I got a deal on the physical edition too, so I'm not too upset.
Okay.
Marvel Rivals section here. Still playing it. I'm still stuck in Diamond. I think I said I was Diamond last time. This is another thing. I think I'm falling out of love with Marvel Rivals because of comp play. I'm having the same problem I had in Overwatch, where once you make it to a certain tier, everyone in that tier only likes to play the game the way professional players are playing the game. So they only expect you to follow a certain meta of the most popular players or the top players are doing. So the game becomes less fun because you can't pick the players you want to pick or the characters you want to pick without getting backlash from the people being like, no, that person's out of the meta. You need to pick this person, or you need to do this. And I rather just do my dailies and my weeklies in quick play now than doing comp. Because I still like doing my dailies, my weeklies, so I can unlock costumes for characters I don't play. So like, I don't know, like I hate that about online games nowadays, because you even see some people complaining about the meta in quick play. Of just like, oh no, we need to play this. We need to be 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. And or why'd you pick that healer? That healer
Destiny
sucks.
has, even in a PvE game, Destiny has a meta too of like, well, you have to do this for damage, and it's like, well, like a couple of them, I'm like, I don't want to, and I'm like, well, do we want to get it done? Like, like it's just that it's still it's like.
Seeing it in quick play is even more annoying because it's like these are half the match length as competitive games. So it's like, shut up, I will still get MVP on this and I'll carry you. Or if you don't get MVP and they told you to switch, even if you did well, they're like, you fucking sucked. And it's just like, I just wanted to be Squirrel Girl.
Have fun.
Or play Invisible Woman.
That's unfortunately, man, that's how these games die.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I hope it doesn't happen to Rivals, but like when you start get that perception you have a toxic community, like that's not, it sucks. So.
Yeah. So I'm still playing it like here and there, but I already maxed out the battle pass, and I think there's like 30 days left in the season. So I'm just like, fuck. Okay. So yeah, they did add something to the battle pass to where now, once you max out your battle pass, if you still do your dailies and nightlies, if you get enough points to your battle pass, you just earn in-game currency that you can use for costumes. So like there's an incentive to still do your dailies and nightlies. And I'm hoping if I save that currency, I can just buy the next battle pass.
Probably not, but that's a good hope.
Yeah, because that's how like some other games handle it. So
Fortnite does that. Fortnite does that. Yeah.
So I'm hoping they copy that, so then I at least have enough for my next, battle pass. But yeah, so that's Marvel Rivals. I am watching Yellow Jackets. That is a show on Showtime, I think. That's about takes place both in the present and also in the 90s. It follows a girls soccer team that's plane crashes in the wilderness and they have to try and survive. That's the part that takes place in the 90s. And then you basically see how they survived during that period and then where they are in the present tense. Season 1 felt like it might have been a perfect show. Season 2, they kind of lost their way, and currently they're in Season 3. And I'm hoping they kind of correct course. I'm currently on Season 3, so we were just like binging it. I think the first season's 10 episodes, second season's 9 episodes, Season 3 now is on episode 5. So seeing where that goes, still enjoying it. I would say anything that takes place in the past when they're trying to survive in the wilderness, that is still compelling throughout the entire show. It's just they don't really seem like they know what to do with the present day stuff. So that was definitely a TV show where anytime they'd go to the present day, I'm just pulling out the Switch or something. I'm just like,
oh, really?
As soon as I hear 90s music, I'll go back and like look at the screen and be like, okay, give me this stuff. And then finally, the game that Dave wanted to talk about, because he played as well, Split Fiction. So we both picked up Split Fiction and are playing it with our partners. And Dave, you have some experience with this developer's other games, right? A little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Angela and I played It Takes Two, and I've messed around with, I think it was like Prison Break.
A Way Out.
A Way Out, sorry, which is breaking out of prison. That's where I got that from. So, so first of all, as we're going to transition through this, one of the things that I had to do to play Split Fiction as couch co-op, or you can play online co-op also, but playing with Angela, I had over time, we all know that batteries on DualShocks, DualSenses, whatever you want to call them, they're done. They die. We beat the mess out of, I beat the mess out of my controllers. So I have that God of War controller. It was still in a box.
I still have my 30th anniversary in a box, and I'm afraid to open it.
Okay. Yeah. So I opened this God of War controller. First of all, and I don't know if it ever came, because it's been sitting in the box for God knows how long. It wasn't charged. It didn't have any kind of charge in it, which is annoying. So then I'm trying to connect the controller, and it's like, oh, we need to update the firmware. I'm like, cool, update the firmware. You don't have enough charge. And I'm like, ugh. So, and then it just wouldn't update. I had to paperclip reset this thing 3 times.
Yeah.
To get this controller connected. And then that's a sidebar thing. My wife is not good at video games. she's just nice.
I just like the way you said
listening.
That.
Yeah, she's probably listening. She can once she gets slightly comfortable, she can do things. There's a couple things that she got like a little slightly quicker than I did on a couple of them, but she struggles to like move the character with the left stick and move the camera with the right stick simultaneously. Like it just does not compute.
That honestly, it's one of those things where if you're not used to doing it, it is actually kind of hard.
And It Takes Two, I think, did a better job than Split Fiction does, but Split Fiction throws you right in. Like right
I was going to say, like Split Fiction, I would say it's so story-wise, they throw you right in, and I think they do a bad job story-wise with setup and stuff like that.
We're not very far. We're probably we're not very far at all. So
I would. For a story about writing, the writing in the game in terms of the main premise is pretty weak, but the actual writing between the characters, like their dialogue, is actually really funny and compelling.
How far would you say you are?
So I hear the game's like 12 to 14 hours. I'm about like 7 hours into the game.
Okay.
Me and Sarah are playing it a split screen as well. They throw you... This game just like hits the gas fast and like does not let go for a good like 4 hours before it feels like it's...
And does some kind of visually intimidating kind of things too.
Yeah, no, and I feel like they do a pretty good job with this game in terms of like, hey, it's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. You're going to be doing a lot of mechanics that you might not be used to doing in a split screen game. But the penalty for dying isn't that bad. As long as someone stays alive, there's really like, there's like a little mash triangle button game that you do sometimes when someone dies. But that's just gets them in the game faster. But I would say like, I'm super impressed with how they're doing it. The scale is fantastic in terms of just like keeping you interested in the gameplay mechanics. When it does slow down later on, I think that it does a really good job of slowing down and showing you like some beautiful environments. My only complaint I've had so far though is some of the writing around like the main premise is kind of cheesy and bad. But the gameplay is just really fucking fun. Like I'm kind of amazed. Like what was the last thing you played without getting too spoilery?
Not very far. Like I mean, in terms of like we're like an hour. Probably.
Okay. So you're still doing the cyber stuff.
Like maybe one of each thing. Like
okay.
Yeah.
The game does, I would say, like you're probably like 2-3 hours before it kind of slows down to a nice pace. I do like there is a difference though between like the game's super intense when you're doing like the future sci-fi stuff for the one writer, and then when you go to the fantasy land, it does slow down just a little bit, and it's a little bit nicer of a time, though it is still pretty intense, but it's intense in a different way. I do love the idea of just like switching between like environments, because that's one thing that like will bother me sometimes with games in terms of just like everything just kind of looks the same. Like the jumping between different worlds has been pretty nice here. I don't think they're doing anything like super creative with the environments. It's just kind of nice to see. Like,
well, I think that you're playing it safe, but you're also playing like they're. I think that this at its core is marketed to a gamer playing with a non-gamer. Like that's the core marketing of it. Now you get a gamer playing with a gamer, they're probably going to power through it. And you know, Sarah, you're I would say Sarah's above average gamer versus Angela being almost a non-gamer. You know, but like if like me and Johnny as a boy are playing, like we're powering through this. Like like we're racing each other essentially.
The only time you will die, like the only time me and Sarah have been dying is when we're laughing too hard at some of the stuff we have to do. Then we're dying.
Versus me, which I'm getting through certain aspects of it, and I'm waiting for her and trying to help her. Of like, okay, just because she like just the lack of confidence of like, okay, hold forward on the controller, you won't fall off. You know, like when you're jumping in. Then
what you need to do, Dave, is you need to have Angela and Owen play the game together, and we just need a video feed, just FaceTime video yourself, or like do a face video of your reactions to them playing, but we don't see the screen of what they're actually doing. I just want to know what pain you have.
I think you're actually. I think I would you'd be pleasantly surprised at how good Owen it can be at video games, because Owen's
I
already
know,
watching
but,
us, and
but
he's like,
you're not helping. It's Owen helping Angela, and then Angela trying to have patience for Owen, who probably is like trying to go 100 miles per hour.
Owen would be better than Angela.
No. I'm saying, but like you probably slow down of like, okay, let me wait for her. Owen's probably like, I'm gonna keep going. And the game does a really good job of, you can have a character just keep going. There's been a couple times where like Sarah got super far ahead of me, like on some of those like missions,
precision
like,
things.
Where it's like we're both on motorcycles and like she might finish it earlier than I do, and she's just waiting at the exit for me, or vice versa happens.
Well, I already had to do some of the stuff of like turning off the flying, or changing the I can't think of the thing. The orientation, like when up is up, or up is down, and down is up. Invert, yeah. So I had to change that, because she was struggling and I was struggling. So like those, I mean, just those little things as you fix them, we're going on. But I hopefully she's intrigued enough that we can keep playing. We've got a lot of stuff going on. But I would like to, even if her and I can get an hour or two every other day.
Yeah, we've been doing 2 hours a night, basically. I think the first night we ended up playing it like on like a Tuesday or whatever or like Monday, I think is when we started it, and we played until like 1 a.m. and we both had work the next day, and we're like, shit. Yeah,
I just need there to be a little hook for her, in terms of like I'll play to play the game, and then if there's a hook there where she's interested and she really wants to progress through story wise, and it maybe potentially sounds like there might not be writing wise, but hopefully there is, like thematically. I don't know.
When you get to the character moments, I think that's when she'll get hooked.
Okay.
But to start Split Fiction, they kind of throw you in with the most generic like sci-fi story premise, and they don't give any justification. It isn't until like maybe 2 hours in the game where you get to spend a little bit more dialogue time with the two main protagonists that I'm just like, you know what? I like these two characters. The writing between them is actually really well done. It's anytime they're like, oh, let's go look at the evil corporation side of the writing, that I'm just like, this is kind of generic. I just like my mom's going to be in town this weekend for her 75th birthday. So there's a couple things going on. I'm just trying to get some dedicated time, and ultimately we just need to, like I said, hopefully it intrigues her enough where she'd rather play that than like watch our shows or something like that. Like that's where it comes from, where sometimes she's like, I just want to watch 911 for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, and then it turns into like 3 episodes or 4 episodes or whatever, so because I don't know if it's just the fruits of my labor right now of like, as I've been progressing into the store 3.5 months in, my store has taken off. Yeah. And it's wearing me out. Like there's kind of I bought some furniture recently because I'm like, I don't know how expensive this is going to be later. Yeah,
so it might be a combination of that. It might be a combination of the fruits of the labor of what I've been putting in for work, combination of like an advertised sale we had, but all of a sudden like word got out of like, hey, like this building's got its shit together or something like that, and like they're coming in, and I'm like,
it might be a perfect storm for you. In terms of that.
It's just like I'm just like, wow. Like somebody's like, oh, what's the number one challenge? I said the foot traffic. It's like getting hit in the face by a 2x4 compared to my other store. Like I was like, wow. So
I will say with Split Fiction, like it apparently is like a 12-hour game. It does do that thing where you can play online co-op with someone and they don't need to own the game, I believe, is the thing they're doing. So it's one of those things where even if you want to get through it, you can, call your son to be like, yo, let's get this game done.
I won't do that to Angela. I might play with him or something. That'd be fun to play with him. But at its core, let's talk about this a little bit. So this is published by EA, but this is like a quote-unquote independent studio that has a deal with EA.
Hazelight,
buy this game. Hazel or Hazelight. Buy this game. Like this is I want this studio to do well. I want there to be this lack of seasonal games, like this isn't like your air quote single player game, but it is like, if you don't purchase these games and these games don't do well, this is potentially, like from the chatter I've heard, this is potentially going to be on a short list for Game of the Year. Potentially.
Yeah, I would say it's probably my lead contender, and I don't like this studio. Which is like kind of funny.
To your point, you're like, I don't want to hear about the guy from the studio. I want to play the game. And
man, there's an Easter egg in the game that I was just like, you son of a bitch.
Oh, really? So
it's a dumb one. But
I think there's a potential if Angela and I can finish this game. I think there's a potential, and I don't know if she would do it or not, but your partner and my partner to have to figure out a way to have like a episode, so a conversation.
Potentially, yeah. So, that would be pretty interesting. But yeah, no, apparently it's already sold like 2 million copies.
Cool.
You basically have to do the math. They said 4 million people have played, and then they had previously said like it sold 1 million copies the first like couple days, And then like a couple days later, they said 4 million people have played. So it's like, I'd have sold like 2 million copies.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, this is one of those things where it's just like, it's an independent game, but it's like got a big budget because EA's behind it, or relatively big. This is like the type of AA stuff kind of we're talking about that we would like to come back. But it's one of those things where even if you hate EA, buying this game at least shows EA that they can do more with their money.
Like don't live service this game. Like,
yeah. It's just like, hey, EA, this was successful for you. The investment probably wasn't that big for EA. Like I would imagine if it sold 2 million copies already, it's probably close to making its money back. To where it's just like hopefully EA
$50 too, like so $50, like good price. So
which is a fair price for like a 12-hour game, especially it's doing split screen, and I haven't really had any major chugging issues or stuff like that in terms of like it's been.
But like to your point, like buy this and play it with your buddy that maybe your buddy that can't buy it. Like, hey, I got you. Like, let's play.
Yeah, and this is like the fact you can do it online, you can do it split screen. It seems to be working pretty well. I know some people that are playing it online, and they haven't really complained about online issues. I'm playing it local, and local seems to be doing fine.
I'd be curious if you play it online, do you get the whole screen, or does it still split screen?
I would actually have to look at that. I would imagine there's some instances where you still need to see the other character's screen. So
because that's my only, I guess that would be my only complaint is like I've been so used to playing full screen games, and now I'm like, I don't want to play this, and I'm like, I'm not sitting on the right side of the couch. Like
that did throw me off too, because at a certain point I don't think there's an option, but I almost wanted to split like reverse, like which side.
Well, no, for me, I usually sit on like the right hand side of the couch, and like as first player, it's on the left hand side of the screen, and I'm like, I know it's like dumb to say this, but I'm looking across, I'm looking through. Angela and I are like making an X. So,
it breaks me too, because sometimes I'll like drift and look at the wrong side of the screen because.
And the few times they've gone full screen, I'm like, okay, who am I controlling?
Yeah, I will say, like, if there's some instances, like, if you have any issues with color blindness, I don't think they do a good enough job sometimes of making a character pop out.
I could see that. Yep, I could see that because I'm already losing them, and I don't have a colorblind problem. I just have a vision problem.
There's been a couple times, especially when the camera pulls super far back, that I'm just like, where am I? And I'm like, I kind of see the outline.
We're talking like God of War Ascension pull away. I'm like,
so I would probably have to look at like the accessibility options, because I might even turn some of those on, because I just need sometimes a little bit of a boost of color, because your character is associated with a color. It's like pink and green.
And the controllers, like all the little Easter egg stuff, like the controllers light up. Like my Owen's like, Dad, look at your controller, and he's like, oh, that's cool. Like those little things, like, so those are all like it's really, really solid, like really solid. So
there hasn't been a ton of games that come out this year that interest me, and then I took a chance on this one, and I'm pretty happy with it. Joseph Ferris, you made a good game, I guess. I don't know about your other ones. Good job.
I think if you're enjoying this, I
know I would like It Takes Two. I know that.
Yeah, you should play it. Like I like you can probably get it for like $20 right now. Like
if this goes well, because like Sarah's enjoying it too, we might try It Takes Two. I know A Way Out wasn't that good. It sounds like
I would stay away from that. Like I don't think she would like that as much. But It Takes Two has a little bit of the whimsicalness to it. I think that you guys would, and that's fun. If same thing. If Angela kind of gets into this one, I might have to go back and start It Takes Two over again and try to finish it. So, but all right, a little longer than normal. Please send your questions. Hashtag AskDigitalDays. Post them in the Discord. There's a specific place for it. Put them on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. Post in Facebook. I still kind of pay attention to that, but Twitter, X, and Facebook are just they're not good for my mentalness. So, and so like I would prefer, like I prefer Discord, but I still will pay attention. Or let us know like where you would, if I don't know, is there enough demand for Blue Sky? I'm not really seeing much chatter around that. Discord pops off every now and then when something something's afoot. I have been, side note, I have been, trying to get, I was going to ask you, because it's probably going to be a little hard, maybe a little easier for you. Do you know any good, are there good, like, skateboard shops, like skate shoe shops near you?
Some, like in some neighborhoods I used to live in.
So there's a Jordan Retro 4 coming out next week. That's a Nike SB collab.
Yeah.
And like I'm talking about like like Foot Lockers and the Nike store and the core ones that I know where to get my stuff from aren't getting it. Like I had to like I drove like 30 minutes to a skate shop today to enter a paper raffle where I had to write my name on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So I'm learning about a little bit about this skateboard community of where these shops are, and I'm like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So it might be one of those things where like maybe you have some friends or some pull for me that you can help me out here.
Man, the only problem is the neighborhoods that those stores are in are already those neighborhoods where people are going to line up a day before this thing comes out.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping I can get my hands on this. I entered a couple different things, but that's kind of, I do need to post that in the collections tab because I think some people would be a little bit taken aback by my hat and sneaker collection currently. But I'm not.
Are they the navy blue ones?
Yeah, the white navy with the gum bottoms. Yeah. So Michael's like, nah, I don't like them.
Yeah, they're okay. The pictures they have right now are just like the sneak peek pictures on this website, so you can't get a full look.
So I'm really kind of hoping to get those just because like they're going for like $225 or something like that, and I wouldn't flip them, but if I win 2 raffles, I could probably get like $800 or $900 for one of these. That's not why I'm trying to do it. I will get them, and if I get my pair, I will wear my pair.
But if you get 2 pairs,
yeah, so that might be a little bit of a different conversation. So, but yes, I will try to think about posting my sneaker collection. We're kind of in this like massive transition in the house right now as Zoe is moving on and you know getting married this year. So we're kind of like we're gonna redo the bedroom and all this stuff, and we have all these adult dreams that just don't happen. But other than that, like, please just, interact on Discord with us. You can check us out on Patreon. You can, Facebook group, Discord server. It's all linked in the show notes. And I hope everyone has a great week and keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.